Most people cut their cake into wedges, but actually you're going to dry your cake out because you're exposing the inside of the cake. So a better way to cut the cake, you just cut it down the middle. You take out a sliver and then you push the two halves together, and that keeps it moist. And the next day, you just cut a perpendicular sliver and then you push the remaining halves together. And you keep doing that until you have no more cake. One reason why you can't donate your liver again and again is because regeneration is not an infinite process. The thing is, after you donate, the cells in your remaining liver start to divide and replicate to form new cells until your liver reaches its full size. But the shape of the regenerated liver won't look identical to your original liver. And the reason is, those new cells form in a pattern that's slightly different from your original lobular architecture. But also, regenerated tissues include small amounts of scar tissue, which further alters your liver structure. If you were hypothetically to donate your liver again, you would be at risk as a donor in healing, but also it could put the recipient at risk when it comes to liver grafting. Subscribe. If commercial airlines did give you parachutes, you think it would help, but actually it wouldn't. Because the thing is, airlines typically cruise like 550 or 600 miles an hour. So if you jumped out at that speed, you're gonna smash into the side of the plane most likely. But let's say even if you could jump out safely, well, commercial airplanes, they're still cruising minimally at 35,000 feet. We're talking like 6.6 miles above the ground. And at that altitude, the oxygen level is so thin, you're going to just pass out the first minute. You're also going to get frostbite, if not thermal shock, because a temperature that high could reach negative 65 degrees Fahrenheit or worse. And let's say even if those initial dangers aren't even an issue, the reality is that most airline accidents happen during takeoff or during landing. And that's just not enough time or altitude for you to make your decision, wait for other passengers to jump, and then figure out how to even use a parachute. And that's why commercial airplanes don't bother providing parachutes. Let's say you get pushed out of a spacecraft, you're in outer space, but you don't have a spacesuit on. Your gut instinct, you're gonna hold your breath. But that's the wrong thing to do, because actually, you should exhale. And the reason is, there's a quick shift in the air pressure. It's actually gonna suck out all the air inside your lungs and your sinus and your ears. Pretty painful. So then you're going to get dizzy and nauseous. And actually it'll force a bowel movement, but you're really not thinking about that at this point, right? Because the liquids in your tissues, they're going to turn into gas. And that's why you start swelling up twice your size. But since you don't have oxygen in your lungs to feed your brain, you're not going to comprehend that. You're just going to pass out in 15 seconds. And that might be a relief, because after 90 seconds, unless someone rescues you, you're pretty much going to die from asphyxiation. A human adult thigh bone, or femur, can hold up to 2,500 pounds. This means it can hold up a compact car, small boat, dairy cow, polar bear, bison, moose, piano, or a vending machine. The reason is your bone, pound by pound, is stronger than steel, and its construction is comparable to reinforced concrete. If your tooth gets knocked out, you have about 30 minutes to get to the dentist to get it reattached. If you're fortunate, you might have up to an hour, but no more. Every minute counts. So first you want to pick up the tooth, but grab it by the crown. You don't want to touch the root because that can damage the cells that are needed for reattachment. So then you want to rinse the tooth gently in milk or a saline solution, but don't rinse it in tap water. Next, you want to gently insert the tooth back into your socket if you can, but if you can't reinsert it, keep the tooth in a container of milk. Either way, you're going to want to rush and see your dentist. Subscribe! If you drop a tooth in Coca-Cola or Pepsi, in just a few hours, the enamel will get rougher and pitted, and the tooth will darken or yellow because of the acids and the sugars in the soda. After a few weeks, that tooth will develop visible cracks and chips. It'll turn more brittle. After several months, most of the enamel will have been completely dissolved, and the dentin will remain, but it will be severely damaged. And since the enamel is the hardest substance in the entire human body, it's actually harder than bones. That says a lot about how corrosive sodas are. Subscribe. So if for some reason you accidentally fall off a plane, most people think you should aim for water, but actually that's the worst choice to make. Because the thing is, water doesn't compress easily. So if you're falling 124 miles an hour, you'd be like hitting concrete. So a better landing spot, if you have the option, try to aim for snow or swampland or trees, because those surfaces will help you to decelerate. But let's say you can't find any of those. Well, the next best option is to aim for a rooftop or a bus, because those objects are not strong and they could help absorb some of your impact energy. Also, the position in which you land, that matters. You have a higher chance of survival if you land feet first. The reason is your feet and legs will absorb most of the impact. They'll shatter, of course, but it'll protect the more important parts of your body.